The darkness of space held many secrets. Among the endless stars and drifting rocks, one secret had been waiting for 300 years. Captain Robert James stood at the viewport of his salvage ship, the Lucky Find, his eyes fixed on the strange shape floating between two large asteroids. The object was massive, far bigger than his small vessel. "Are you seeing this?" he asked, not turning away from the view. Mark, his first mate, nodded slowly. "Never seen anything like it before." The object was clearly a ship, but unlike any modern vessel. Its hull was black with strange angular plates. Despite centuries of drifting through space, it showed few signs of damage from asteroid impacts. "Tom, what do you think?" James called to their engineer. Tom pushed his way to the viewport, his eyes widening behind thick glasses. "No way," he whispered. "That's impossible." "What is it?" James asked. Tom's face had gone pale. "If I'm right, that's the Vigilant, a legendary battleship from the Old War. It was supposed to have been destroyed in the final battle against the Dominion." The Dominion, the enemy that had nearly wiped out humanity 3 centuries ago. Most people only knew them from history lessons now. "Worth checking out?" James asked, already knowing the answer. Tom nodded eagerly. A ship like that, the technology alone would be worth a fortune. 2 hours later, James, Tom, and their security officer, Lisa, floated through the empty corridors of the ancient battleship. Their suit lights cut through the darkness, revealing walls of a strange metal that seemed to absorb the light. "This ship is in remarkable condition," Tom said, his voice filled with excitement. "Look at these walls. Not even a scratch. This material isn't like anything we use today." Lisa kept her hand near her weapon. "I don't like this. It feels wrong, like we're grave robbers." James understood her concern. "We're just looking. If we find any remains, we'll report this to the authorities." But secretly, he hoped they'd find something valuable before making that call. They reached what appeared to be the bridge, a large circular room with command stations arranged in a half-circle facing a main view screen. Tom moved to one of the stations, brushing away centuries of dust. "Amazing. These systems look advanced even by our standards. Can any of it still work after all this time?" James asked. Tom shook his head. "Power's been dead for centuries. Nothing cold." His words cut off as his hand pressed against a panel that suddenly lit up with a soft blue glow. The 3 of them froze. "What did you do?" Lisa whispered. "Nothing. I just touched it and—" More lights began to come on around the bridge. The low hum filled the air as systems long dormant began to wake. "We should leave," Lisa said, backing toward the door. "Right now." Before they could move, a deep voice spoke from all around them. "Emergency protocols initiated. Ship status: critical. War status: active. Scanning for authorized personnel." A beam of light swept over them, making them flinch. "No authorized personnel detected. Intruder protocol engaged." Metal shutters slammed down over the exits, trapping them on the bridge. "Wait," Tom shouted. "We're not enemies. The war is over." The voice paused. "Clarify statement." James stepped forward. "The war with the Dominion ended 300 years ago. Humanity won." Another pause. "Time verification required." A holographic display appeared in the center of the bridge, showing the date from when the ship was last active. "Over 3 centuries in the past." "Current date?" the voice asked. James gave it. The display updated, calculating the difference. "Time discrepancy detected. Accessing emergency temporal protocols." The voice sounded different now, less mechanical. "I am Atlas, Artificial Intelligence Core of the UES Vigilant. If your date is accurate, I have been dormant for 312 years, 4 months, and 17 days. Tom stepped closer to the hologram. "That's correct, Atlas. The war ended shortly after the Vigilant was believed destroyed." The eye was silent for a moment. "My last records indicate critical mission status. Commander Walker ordered emergency shutdown during the Battle of Proxima Threshold. Please explain how you located this vessel. James explained their salvage mission and the accidental discovery. I see, Atlas said, and the current state of human civilization. We rebuilt, Lisa said. The United Systems governs most human space now. There are colonies on over 50 worlds. And the Dominion. Defeated. They haven't been seen since the final battle. Atlas processed this. Interesting. My battle sensors were active moments before shutdown. They indicated the Dominion forces were not destroyed but retreating in a coordinated pattern. The three humans exchanged glances. That contradicts our historical records, Tom said. Everyone knows the Dominion was completely defeated. Perhaps, Atlas replied, or perhaps humans simply believed what they wished to believe. The lights on the bridge grew brighter. Around them, they could hear the ship coming to life, the soft hum of systems activating, the clicks and whirs of machinery awakening. What's happening? Lisa asked, her hand moving to her weapon again. I am initiating full system restoration, Atlas answered. The Vigilant was the most advanced vessel in the human fleet. My programming requires me to preserve this ship and its capabilities. Through the viewports, they could see parts of the massive vessel lighting up. Sections that had appeared damaged were reforming, the metal flowing like liquid to repair itself. Self-repairing materials, Tom whispered in awe. We don't have anything like this today. Atlas's hologram expanded, showing a complete schematic of the battleship. The Vigilant carries technologies that were classified beyond top secret. Quantum reactors, gravity manipulation systems, weapons that could destroy planets. James felt a chill. And now it's all just waking up. Correct, Atlas said. And there is more you should know. Before shutdown, Commander Walker left a sealed message to be delivered upon reactivation. A new hologram appeared, the face of a man in a military uniform, his expression grim. This is Commander Daniel Walker of the UES Vigilant. If you're seeing this, then someone has found and reactivated the ship. Listen carefully. The war isn't over. What we fought was just the first wave. The Vigilant contains information vital to humanity's survival for the coming storm. Trust Atlas. Protect the ship and prepare for what's coming. The message ended, leaving them in silence. What does he mean, the coming storm? Lisa asked. Before Atlas could answer, an alert sounded. The main view screen activated, showing the space around them. A small ship was approaching. Not their salvage vessel. Unknown craft detected, Atlas announced. Design matches no known human configuration. James moved closer to the screen. Can you identify it? Analyzing, Atlas said. Hull composition contains elements consistent with Dominion technology. The three humans stared at each other in shock as the forgotten battleship continued to awaken around them. Its ancient systems coming online as a visitor from humanity's darkest nightmare approached through the void. Get down, Lisa shouted, pulling James behind a control panel as the bridge lights flashed red. The unknown ship had fired without warning, a bright energy beam slicing through the darkness of space, but it never reached the Vigilant. Defense shields active, Atlas announced calmly. Threat assessment in progress. Tom's mouth fell open as he watched the view screen. A shimmer of blue energy had appeared around the battleship, absorbing the attack completely. Those shields, he whispered. They're nothing like what we have today. Atlas's hologram expanded. The approaching vessel uses a modified Dominion energy signature, but appears to be a scout craft. Its weapons are not capable of penetrating Vigilant's defenses. Can you contact our ship? James asked. The lucky find is still out there. Communications restored, Atlas replied. Warning your vessel now. On the screen, they watched as their salvage ship began to move, putting distance between itself and the attacker. What do we do now? Lisa asked, her weapon drawn but useless against their strange situation. James straightened his back. We need to understand what we found here. Atlas, You mentioned the ship contains vital information. What exactly does the Vigilant carry? The eye was silent for a moment. I am authorized to share some information, given the circumstances. Follow me. The bridge doors slid open, and Atlas's blue hologram floated into the corridor. The three humans hurried after it, moving deeper into the massive battleship. They entered a large circular room filled with what looked like storage containers. As they entered, lights activated automatically, illuminating row after row of technology, unlike anything they had ever seen. This is the primary research bay, Atlas explained. The Vigilant was not just a weapon of war. It was also humanity's repository of its most advanced science. Tom moved to one of the containers, which opened at his approach. Inside was a small device, no bigger than his palm. "What is this?" he asked, not daring to touch it. "A quantum fold generator," Atlas replied. "It can create pocket dimensions for storage or shelter. The entire Vigilant could hide inside that device if necessary." Lisa examined another container. "And this?" "Medical nanites capable of healing almost any injury. They can even rebuild entire organs." James watched as Tom moved from container to container, his eyes wide with wonder. "This technology, it's centuries ahead of what we have now. Why didn't humanity keep using it after the war?" Atlas's hologram dimmed slightly. Much was lost in the final battles. The scientists who created these technologies were targeted by the Dominion. Most of them died before their work could be properly shared. The ship shuddered suddenly. "The scout vessel is continuing its attack," Atlas informed them. "I have activated minimal defensive measures to conserve power." "Can you destroy it?" Lisa asked. "Easily, but doing so might alert others to our presence. I recommend caution until we better understand the current situation." James nodded in agreement. "So what else does this ship contain?" Commander Walker mentioned information vital to humanity's survival. Atlas led them deeper into the ship, down corridors that seemed to repair themselves as they passed. Metal flowed like water, sealing cracks and rebuilding damaged sections. The Vigilant's primary mission was to serve as a safeguard, Atlas explained. When it appeared that humanity might lose the war, certain contingencies were put in place. They entered what appeared to be a war room. A large holographic display showed star systems and military formations frozen in time from 3 centuries ago. Commander Walker was tasked with preserving humanity's last resort options. Atlas continued. The Vigilant contains the coordinates to hidden outposts, secret weapons caches, and emergency colonies established beyond Dominion reach. The hologram shifted to show a string of locations, blinking points of light in the vast darkness of space. Most importantly, Atlas said, it carries the keys to activate Protocol Lazarus. "What's Protocol Lazarus?" Tom asked. Before Atlas could answer, a new alarm sounded. "Alert! Stasis pod integrity warning in Medical Bay 7. The AI's hologram flickered. "This is unexpected. Please follow me immediately." Medical Bay 7 was located deep within the ship. As they entered, they saw a row of what looked like glass coffins built into the wall. All were empty except one at the far end, which was glowing with a soft white light. "What is this?" James asked, approaching the active pod. "It appears Commander Walker did not die in the final battle as historical records claim," Atlas said, its voice showing what might have been surprise. "He initiated emergency stasis before the ship's power failed." They gathered around the pod. Inside was a man who appeared to be sleeping, his chest rising and falling slowly. He wore a dark uniform with insignia none of them recognized. "He's alive. After 300 years. Lisa couldn't hide her disbelief. "Advanced stasis technology," Tom said with awe. "The pod must have kept him in perfect suspension all this time." Atlas's hologram moved to an adjacent console. "The pod is failing. It was designed for decades of use, not centuries. We must revive him now or lose him forever." "Wait," James said. "Is that safe? For him or for us?" "Unknown," Atlas admitted. But Commander Walker is the only human with full knowledge of the Vigilance secrets and Protocol Lazarus. His expertise would be invaluable. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. The scout vessel has been joined by 2 others, Atlas reported. They are attempting to establish a boarding trajectory. James looked at the others, then back at the sleeping commander. Do it. Wake him up. Atlas activated the revival sequence. The pod hummed loudly, its light changing from white to blue to green. Steam hissed from vents as the cover slowly lifted. Revival complete, Atlas announced. Life signs stabilizing. Inside the pod, Commander Walker's eyes fluttered open. He looked around, confusion evident on his face as he took in the strangers surrounding him. Then his gaze found Atlas's hologram, and understanding dawned in his eyes. Atlas, he said, his voice hoarse from centuries of disuse. Status report. Welcome back, Commander, Atlas replied. The year is 2782. The Vigilant has been rediscovered, and it appears the Dominion has returned. Walker's face hardened as he pushed himself upright. Then we're already running out of time. He looked at James and the others. Who are you people, and what do you know about Operation Starfall? Before any of them could answer, the ship rocked with its strongest impact yet. Hull breach detected, Atlas announced. Intruders attempting to board in Sector 12. Walker swung his legs over the side of the pod, his movements becoming steadier with each second. Seal all bulkheads. Activate internal defense systems, and prepare the jump drive. Jump drive? Tom asked. Walker fixed him with a steely gaze. The Vigilant was never meant to fight alone. It's time to wake the rest of the fleet. Commander Walker moved with surprising speed for a man who had been asleep for 3 centuries. His body showed none of the weakness they expected. Instead, he strode through the corridors of the Vigilant with confident steps, stopping only to place his hand on scanner panels that lit up at his touch. The ship recognizes your biometrics, Tom observed, hurrying to keep up. Walker nodded. The Vigilant and I are linked in ways your modern science probably can't understand. He turned to James. You're a captain. James stood straighter. Of a salvage vessel. Yes. Then you understand command. Good. You'll need to. They reached the bridge, where Walker took the central chair as if he had left it only yesterday. Atlas's hologram expanded beside him. Status report, Walker ordered. 3 vessels now surrounding us. Atlas reported. 2 show signs of Dominion technology, but with significant modifications. The 3rd appears to be human design, heavily modified. Pirates, Lisa said. They must have detected the ship powering up. Walker's fingers danced across the command console. Atlas, initiate Defense Protocol 7. Minimum force. Yes, Commander. On the view screen, they watched as small sections of the Vigilant's hull opened, revealing what looked like tiny lights. Micro-pulse cannons, Walker explained. Non-lethal but very persuasive. The lights flashed briefly, and the attacking ships suddenly went dark, drifting endlessly. Electromagnetic pulse, Tom said with awe. But so precisely targeted. Walker stood. We need to move. Those ships will have sent messages before we disable them. Atlas, is the jump drive operational? At 60% capacity, Commander. Sufficient for 2 standard jumps. Plot a course to Outpost Sigma. Atlas hesitated. Commander, I should inform you that based on current star charts, Outpost Sigma no longer exists in any database. A thin smile crossed Walker's face. Exactly as planned. Execute jump. James stepped forward. Wait, my ship and crew are still out there. Walker paused, then nodded. Atlas, bring the salvage vessel into Bay 3. We can accommodate it. Thank you, James said, relief washing over him. Don't thank me yet, Captain. Walker's eyes were cold. You've all just become part of something much bigger than you realize. The jump was nothing like modern space travel. There was no gradual acceleration, no sense of movement. One moment they were in the asteroid field, and the next they were somewhere else entirely, orbiting a small, unremarkable moon around a gas giant. "Where are we?" Lisa asked, looking at the unfamiliar star system. "Officially, nowhere," Walker replied. "This system doesn't appear on any chart. We made sure of that." Atlas brought up a new display. Outpost Sigma status. Dormant. Awakening protocols initiated. Below them, the surface of the moon began to change. What had appeared to be natural craters and ridges shifted, revealing massive metal doors sliding open. Lights activated in sequence, outlining what was clearly an artificial structure built into the moon itself. "What is this place?" Tom asked. "One of humanity's insurance policies," Walker said. "When the war turned against us, the High Command established hidden outposts throughout unexplored space, places to rebuild if Earth fell." James stared at the massive facility. "But Earth didn't fall. We won the war." Walker's expression darkened. "Did we? Or did we just believe what was easier to accept?" Before James could respond, a new alarm sounded. "Incoming transmission," Atlas announced, "from United Systems Defense Fleet." Walker looked surprised. "They found us already." "Negative," Atlas replied. "The transmission is directed to all ships in this sector. Playing now." The view screen changed to show a stern-faced woman in a military uniform. "This is Admiral Lin of the United Systems Defense Fleet. All vessels are ordered to report any sighting of the unidentified battleship that disappeared from the Ceres asteroid belt. This vessel is considered highly dangerous and is to be approached only by authorized military personnel. Repeat, do not engage." The message repeated, then ended. "Word travels fast," Lisa commented. Walker laughed without humor. "When a warship the size of a small city suddenly appears after 3 centuries, people notice." Tom had been examining the data streams flowing across a secondary console. "These readings from Outpost Sigma. This isn't just a base, it's a shipyard." Walker nodded. "The most advanced shipyard humanity ever built, capable of producing vessels like the Vigilant, but better." "But why keep it secret after the war?" James asked. "This technology could have helped rebuild faster." "Because some secrets are too dangerous to share," Walker replied. "And some enemies never truly leave." The view screen shifted again, this time showing multiple red dots appearing at the edge of the system. "Commander," Atlas said, "I'm detecting quantum wake signatures consistent with Dominion scout vessels. They appear to be following our jump trail." Walker's face hardened. "How many?" 17, and increasing." Lisa looked at the others, her face pale. "That's no scouting party. That's an invasion force." Walker turned to James. "Now you understand. The Dominion never left. They retreated, regrouped, and waited. For 300 years, they've been preparing, just as we were." "But why wait so long?" James asked. "Resources. Strategy. Who knows?" Walker accessed another console. "What matters is that humanity has grown complacent, forgotten what real war looks like. Your modern ships wouldn't last 5 minutes against a full Dominion assault." Tom pointed to the outpost below. "But these ships would. If we can activate them in time," Walker agreed. "Atlas, begin full awakening sequence for Outpost Sigma." "Authorization Walker Alpha 7 Echo." "Authorization accepted," Atlas confirmed. "Estimated time to full activation. 6 hours." Walker shook his head. "We don't have 6 hours. The Dominion forces will be here in 3, maybe 4. James stepped forward. "What can we do to help?" Walker studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Your modern access codes might help bypass some of the security protocols. And we need to warn the United Systems about what's coming." "They won't believe us," Lisa said. "A 300-year-old commander claiming the Dominion is back. They'll think we're insane." "Then we'll have to show them proof," Walker replied grimly. He turned to Tom. You understand technology. I need you to access the Vigilance black box. It contains recordings of the final battle, evidence that the Dominion wasn't destroyed but retreating according to a plan. Tom nodded eagerly. I can do that. Walker faced James. Captain, you and your crew need to make a choice. What's happening now will change everything. Once the Dominion arrives in force, there's no going back to your old lives. James looked at Lisa and Tom, then back to Walker. I think we made our choice when we found your ship. A small smile touched Walker's lips. Good man. He turned back to the main console. Atlas, prepare a message for all United Systems channels. Priority black. Ready, Commander. Walker drew himself up straight. This is Commander Daniel Walker of the UES Vigilant. To anyone receiving this message, humanity faces its greatest threat since the Dominion War. They have returned, and this time, it won't stop until every human world burns. But we prepared for this day. The Vigilant was just the beginning. It's time to awaken the forgotten fleet. As his message transmitted, the facility below them came to life with increasing speed. In the darkness of space, ancient engines began to glow as ships long dormant prepared for war once more. Outpost Sigma transformed with incredible speed. What had appeared to be a barren moon now bristled with defense towers, communication arrays, and massive hangar doors opening to reveal ships that hadn't seen the light of stars in centuries. On the bridge of the Vigilant, everyone watched in awe. It's working faster than I expected, Walker said, studying the displays. The automated systems are still functioning at near optimal levels. Tom couldn't take his eyes off the readings. The power output is massive. How is this possible after so long? Dark matter reactors, Walker explained. They can run for 1,000 years without maintenance, another technology your modern science has lost. James received a message from his crew aboard the Lucky Find, now safely docked within the Vigilant's enormous hangar bay. They were understandably confused and frightened. I need to talk to my people, he told Walker. They deserve to know what's happening. Walker nodded. Make it quick. We have less than 2 hours before the Dominion scouts arrive. In the hangar bay, James faced his nervous crew. 8 men and women who had signed on for a simple salvage mission now found themselves in the middle of a reborn war. I know this is far beyond what any of you signed up for, James told them. But I believe Commander Walker is telling the truth. The enemy that nearly destroyed humanity once is coming back, and we're somehow part of the first line of defense. Mike, the oldest crew member, stepped forward. We've all heard the stories about the Dominion War, Captain. My great-grandfather fought in it. If they're really coming back, then we help however we can, finished Emma, the ship's navigator. What other choice do we have? James felt a surge of pride in his crew. Walker needs people who understand modern systems. Our codes and protocols might help integrate the old fleet with current United Systems defenses. One by one, the crew nodded their agreement. They were staying. Back on the bridge, Walker was deep in conversation with Atlas when an alarm sounded. United Systems warships detected, Atlas reported. 3 destroyers and a command cruiser approaching at high speed. Walker looked grim. They got here fast. Too fast. The view screen showed 4 sleek modern vessels, their weapon systems clearly active. They're hailing us, Atlas said. On screen. Admiral Lin's face appeared, her expression stern. Unidentified vessel. This is Admiral Lin of the United Systems Defense Fleet. You will power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. This is not a request. Walker stepped forward. Admiral, I am Commander Daniel Walker of the United Earth Ship Vigilant. I sent a priority message regarding the Dominion threat. We received your message. Commander, Lin interrupted, her tone making it clear she questioned his identity. And our historians confirm that Commander Walker died 3 centuries ago. Whoever you are, you've activated restricted military technology and made claims that have caused panic across 3 sectors. Admiral, James said, joining Walker, I'm Captain Robert James of the salvage vessel Lucky Find. I can confirm this really is Commander Walker. We found him in stasis aboard the Vigilant. Lynn's eyes narrowed. Captain James, you and your crew are now considered accomplices in the theft of military property. Stand down and surrender the vessel immediately. Walker shook his head. We don't have time for this. Atlas, show her. Atlas brought up the sensor readings of the approaching Dominion ships. Admiral, these vessels match historical records of Dominion scout ships, but with significant technological advancements. They will arrive in approximately 97 minutes. Lynn studied the data, her expression unchanging. These readings could easily be faked. My orders stand. Power down and prepare to be boarded. Walker turned away from the screen. She won't listen. Not until it's too late. Tom, who had been working at a side console, suddenly straightened. I've got it. The black box data is accessible. Walker moved quickly to his side. Send it to the Admiral. All of it. Lynn's image was replaced by recordings from the Vigilant's final battle. They watched as massive Dominion ships engaged in what appeared to be retreat, but the data overlays told a different story. The enemy forces were moving in precise formation, protecting specific vessels, preserving their strength rather than fighting to the last. When Lynn's face returned, her expression had changed. This data will need to be verified. We don't have time. Walker insisted. Look at your own long-range scans. The Dominion Advance Force will be here within the hour, and they're just the beginning. A new voice spoke from off-screen, someone advising the Admiral. After a moment, Lynn nodded. Our sensors have confirmed unusual quantum signatures approaching this system. We will hold position and monitor the situation. Her eyes hardened. But if this is some kind of deception. The transmission ended. Walker turned to James. It's a start. Now we need to wake up the rest of our forces. Below them, the first ships from Outpost Sigma were rising from their long slumber. Sleek, angular vessels with the same strange black metal as the Vigilant. 5 ships operational, Atlas reported. 23 more activating. Walker nodded. Begin transmission of modern identification protocols. We need the United Systems ships to recognize them as friendly. Tom worked alongside the AI, his fingers flying across the controls. I'm integrating our communication systems with theirs. It's like they were designed to be updated. They were, Walker confirmed. We knew technology would advance while these ships slept. The systems were built to adapt. Lisa, who had been monitoring the approaching Dominion ships, called out suddenly. They've accelerated. Estimated arrival in 35 minutes. Walker's face showed no surprise. They must have detected our activities. Atlas, battle stations. Prepare all operational vessels for immediate engagement. Alarms sounded throughout the Vigilant and the newly awakened ships. In the hangar bay, James's crew scrambled to their assigned stations. The United Systems warships moved into defensive positions, still wary but now preparing for a possible threat. Commander, Atlas said, I've detected a secure signal being transmitted from within the outpost. It appears to be on an old emergency frequency. Walker froze. Patch it through. Authorization Walker Omega 9. A woman's voice filled the bridge, clear despite 3 centuries of silence. This is Admiral Helena Reyes, Lazarus Protocol Command. Authentication code. Starfall Ember Rising. If you're receiving this, then the Vigilant has returned, and the Dominion with it. Walker, the final fleet is awakening. The coordinates to all remaining outposts are now transferring to your systems. We planned for this day. Don't let humanity fall. The message ended, leaving a moment of silence on the bridge. Who was that? James asked quietly. My commanding officer, Walker said, his voice thick with emotion. She stayed behind on Earth to coordinate the last defense while we established the outposts. He straightened, new determination in his eyes. Atlas, download the coordinates and distribute them to all operational vessels. Coordinates received and verified. Atlas confirmed. 27 additional outposts located throughout unexplored space. On the view screen, more dots appeared, hidden bases scattered across the galaxy, each housing ships and weapons designed for this very moment. Walker turned to face them all. The old guard is rising, and this time, we finish what we started. In the distance, the first flashes of light marked the arrival of the Dominion scouts. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin again. The first Dominion ships burst into the system like dark stars, their hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. They moved with unnatural precision, spreading out in attack formation. 5 scout vessels, Atlas reported. Heavy weaponry detected. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Walker stood calmly. They've upgraded their technology, just as we expected they would. He turned to James. This is just the first wave, a test of our defenses. Admiral Lynn's face appeared on a side screen. Her expression had changed from skepticism to grim acceptance. Commander Walker, our sensors confirm those are not ships of any known design in our database. If they truly are Dominion, they are, Walker assured her, and they're more dangerous than anything your fleet has faced. Stay back and observe. Let us handle this first encounter. Lynn looked like she wanted to argue, but nodded. My ships will maintain position, but stand ready to assist. The screen went dark as Walker turned to Atlas. Battle protocol echo. Defensive formation with the awakened ships. Acknowledge. The view screen showed their small fleet moving into position, the Vigilant at the center with 7 newly awakened vessels arranging themselves in a crescent formation. Those scout ships are still coming straight in, Lisa observed. No caution at all. Walker smiled thinly. They don't expect resistance. As far as they know, humanity has forgotten how to fight a real war. The Dominion scouts accelerated, energy weapons charging along their hulls. They're preparing to fire, Atlas warned. Walker's voice remained calm. Execute countermeasures. Minimal force. What happened next left everyone except Walker speechless. The black metal of the Vigilant and its sister ships seemed to ripple. Points of light gathered along their hulls, then shot out in a perfect web pattern. The energy streams connected all friendly ships in a glowing network. When the Dominion weapons fired, their energy beams simply disappeared into the web, absorbed completely. Energy web defense, Walker explained. It captures enemy fire and redirects it to our weapon systems. Tom stared at the readings. That's impossible. You can't just convert energy patterns like that. Not with your current science, Walker agreed. Now, Atlas, show them what the old guard can do. The Vigilant fired, not the bright energy beams of modern ships, but what looked like small spheres of swirling darkness. They moved slowly at first, then accelerated toward the enemy vessels. Quantum disruption charges, Walker said. They don't destroy the target. They simply unmake it. The spheres reached the lead Dominion ship. Instead of an explosion, the vessel seemed to fold in on itself, collapsing into nothing as if it had never existed. The remaining Dominion scouts immediately changed course, attempting to retreat. They're sending out a wideband transmission, Atlas reported, likely calling for reinforcements. Walker nodded. Let them. It's time the Dominion understood what they're facing. He turned to James. Captain, we need to move quickly now. Events will accelerate rapidly. What do you need from us? James asked. Your people understand current communication systems. We need to contact all human colonies and military outposts. They need to prepare. James nodded to Lisa. Work with Tom and coordinate with our crew. Make sure every human settlement gets the warning and these defense plans. As they rushed to carry out the orders, Atlas announced, Commander, I'm detecting massive quantum disturbances at the edge of the system. Estimate 40+ Dominion warships emerging in approximately 10 minutes. Walker's expression didn't change. Right on schedule. They always were predictable. He accessed the command console. Send activation signals to all Lazarus Protocol outposts. Priority Alpha. Throughout the galaxy, Dormant facilities began to awaken. Ships that had slept for centuries powered up their systems. Hidden defense platforms activated their weapons. Admiral Lin's ship moved closer to the Vigilant. "Commander, my superiors are demanding answers. Our long-range sensors are detecting unknown vessels activating throughout United Systems space. Tell your superiors that humanity's insurance policy is paying out," Walker replied. "Those ships are on your side." A new alert sounded. "Dominion main fleet has arrived," Atlas announced. 47 warships detected. The view screen showed the enemy fleet, massive vessels that dwarfed even the Vigilant, their formations perfect, their approach methodical. "They haven't changed their tactics," Walker observed. "Good." Lin's voice was tense. "Commander, we're being surrounded. Those ships will overwhelm us in minutes." "No," Walker said confidently. "They won't." He turned to Atlas. "Execute Starfall Protocol." The AI's hologram expanded. Starfall Protocol initiated. All awakened vessels responding. Across the system, the ships from Outpost Sigma moved into precise positions. The Vigilant took the lead, advancing toward the Dominion fleet. "This is suicide," Lin protested. "Fall back and regroup." Walker ignored her. "Atlas, is the primary weapon system operational?" 93% capacity. Sufficient for full deployment. "Target the Dominion command ship." The Vigilant began to change. Sections of the hull shifted, revealing a massive aperture at the front of the vessel. Energy swirled within it, neither light nor darkness, but something in between. "What is that?" James asked, his voice hushed. "The reason the Vigilant was hidden away," Walker answered. "The dimensional rift cannon. It doesn't destroy its targets, it removes them from our reality entirely." The energy buildup reached its peak, the aperture now filled with what looked like a miniature galaxy of swirling stars. "Fire," Walker commanded. A beam of impossibly complex energy patterns shot out from the Vigilant, cutting through space toward the Dominion command ship. When it struck, the effect was unlike any weapon James had ever seen. The enemy vessel didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, along with the space it had occupied. A perfect sphere of nothingness remained where the massive ship had been. The Dominion fleet faltered, their perfect formation breaking as ships tried to evade. "Now," Walker said calmly, "all ships, engage." The battle that followed was beyond description. The awakened human fleet moved with impossible coordination, their ancient weapons tearing through the Dominion forces. The United Systems ships joined the fight, their modern weaponry supplementing the specialized attacks of Walker's vessels. From across the galaxy, more ships arrived, the hidden fleets of the Lazarus Protocol joining the battle as they awakened. The stars themselves seemed to ignite with the flashes of weapons fire and the quantum distortions of ships appearing and disappearing. In just 20 minutes, it was over. The Dominion fleet was gone. Some destroyed, others fled back to whatever dark corner of space they had hidden in for centuries. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Walker finally allowed himself to sit, the weight of 300 years settling on his shoulders. "It's not over," he said quietly. "This was just their first attack. They'll be back, stronger and more prepared." James looked at the tactical display, showing the gathered human fleet, ancient and modern ships side by side. "But this time," he said, "we'll be ready for them." Walker nodded, a hint of a smile on his face. "Yes, Captain. This time, humanity fights together, past and present united." He looked out at the stars, his eyes reflecting their light. "And this time, we won't just survive. We'll end this war once and for all." Across human space, the message spread. The forgotten battleship had awakened. The old guard had returned. And as the stars continued to ignite with the fires of renewed conflict, humanity prepared for the greatest challenge of its existence, armed with the wisdom of the past and the strength of the present. The Dominion had returned, but so had humanity's best defense. And the stars would bear witness to what happened next.